And welcome back to the Hard to Handle Sports Podcast. This is episode number 70. We have a lot to talk about. Ben Simmons got kicked out of practice. What? Opening night predictions, Lakers versus Warriors, Bucks versus Nets. Also give my predictions for the rest of the season. Who's going to make the playoffs? Who's going to win MVP, Rookie of the Year? All that good stuff. I also want to touch on the Bulls. I think they're a team that's going to do really, really well this year. They have all the pieces. They have Billy Donovan. I think they're going to be a nice team this year. And in the Premier League, Ole needs to be fired. We'll touch on that. Obviously, they lost to Leicester, but he needs to be gone. Wolves complete a comeback at Aston Villa, being down 2-0. We have to touch on that. I'm a Wolves fan. We got to touch on that. And in the NFL, Derrick Henry is a monster. The Bills lose to the Titans. They're no longer, in my opinion, the best team in the NFL. I think the Ravens are the best team in the NFL. They trashed the Chargers. Impressive victory by the Ravens. And in the tennis world, Cameron Norrie wins his first Masters 1000, defeating Basilashvili in the Indian Wells final. And Andy Murray and Francis Tiafoe just concluded their first round matchup at the European Open. Incredible stuff. All three sets went to a tie break. Just ridiculous stuff. So that's all we got on this episode. So let's get started. Ben Simmons gets kicked out of practice. We all know he does not want to be there, and today was just another episode in this saga that just needs to conclude. Ben Simmons needs to get out of Philly. There's no way this gets fixed. He's a decent player. He's a great defensive player. He's a black hole on offense. He's an elite passer. But enough is enough, man. Like, this is getting embarrassing. This is getting out of control. They're starting to air out their laundry. Like, you never want to air out your laundry in public, and this is what they're doing. It's apparent to everybody, not just Philly fans, not just NBA fans, like any sports fan. Like, I know people that just like football, that just like soccer, and they know what's going on in Philly. Ben Simmons needs to leave. It's done. Joel Embiid is fed up. He talked to the media today after practice, and he said that he doesn't care. He doesn't care about Ben Simmons or what he does. He doesn't care what Ben Simmons does. Like, he's going to do his own thing. He's just there for the team, that the chemistry has been good despite everything that's going on. And basically, Joel Embiid just spoke from his heart. He spoke how he really feels, and I can appreciate that from Joel Embiid. A lot of times players, because, they're told, or just because their agent tells them, or, they just say the politically correct thing. Like, they always just try to walk that line down the middle, or, the team comes first, or, they always give their teammates the benefit of the doubt. It could have been easy for Joel Embiid to just say, you know what, like, Joel Embiid is one of us, he's trying to figure out what's best for him, and I'm just going to, focus on what I can do and, let everything else settle down or work itself out. Nah, Joel Embiid talked to the media and told them, hey, this is how it's going. I'm not happy. Like I'm fed up. I don't care what he does. Like, I'm just here to ball and, do my thing. So I can respect Joel Embiid for that. But enough is enough. They need to trade Ben Simmons. He needs to get out of there. It's not good for Philly. Especially with Philly fans, the way they are, they hold grudges. They remember everything. They boo their own first round picks. They boo their own, prospects. They boo their own team at their home games. Like, Philly fans, do not forget, Philly fans are brutal. Philly fans will let you know exactly how it is. And I think this has gone on for too long. Ben Simmons has been a disappointment for too long, or he's played his cards. He wants to get out. It's obvious that he wants to get out. He's only there so he doesn't lose money, but he's getting fined. He's already suspended for the first match of the game for, behavior that's detrimental to the team. And I don't see this getting better. Ben Simmons has checked out. It doesn't seem like, he's there to try to work things out. He's there to collect the paycheck until he can get traded. So enough is enough. I think they need to trade him. And I think that what's holding this trade up is that the Philadelphia Sixers believe that Ben Simmons is like this A+ prospect, A+ player that they need to, get a haul for. But I don't think they're going to get that haul. And it doesn't matter. Ben Simmons is not going to play for them. He's going to cause a rift in the locker room. He's going to cause distraction. You already have Joel Embiid talking about how he's fed up. They need to move him. They need to get rid of him. They just need. This is just toxic. It reminds me of a toxic relationship where, you're just prolonging the breakup. Like, this gotta go. Like, it just gotta end. Like, it's not good for both sides. It's just gonna hurt both parties involved. The Sixers aren't gonna be able to, move on and retool their team and really like look at what they could do to build the team around Joel Embiid. And for Ben Simmons, his career is just going to get stagnant. He's not growing in the Sixers. He hasn't taken that next step with the Sixers. It's been obvious that it's not really going to work with the Sixers and Joel Embiid. So I think both parties need to move on, and they need to just, break apart. They need to move on. And as far as getting a haul for Ben Simmons, first of all, he's coming off probably his worst playoff performance in his career. So that, lowers his value. He's still young, and he's still an elite passer. He still, has a very NBA ready body. Like if you want someone that could handle the ball, if he's 6'8", 240, he's fast, he can move, he could defend, like basically all 5 positions. So he has a lot going for him still, but he's coming off his worst offseason. Everyone knows that this relationship is going to end up in a breakup, so they're not going to offer the kitchen sink for him. They know the Sixers basically got to move him, and they know Ben Simmons wants out of there, so they're not going to get the best deal for him because they know he wants out. He's coming off a terrible performance in the playoffs. And like, just to put it lightly, the Harden trade that the Rockets got for him, it was almost the same situation. Everyone knew that, Harden wanted out. Like, the trade was coming. You don't have to offer too much because the Rockets need to get out of this contract. They need to get out of this situation. They need to get something before Harden just walks. Simmons does have a good amount of years left in his contract, but I think the Sixers, they know that they got to move on from him. But if you look at the Harden trade, Harden is a better player than Ben Simmons. He could impact the outcome of a score more. Offense is heavily weighed more than defense. And if you look at what the Rockets got for Harden, you wouldn't say that the Rockets came away with an elite prospect or a franchise player. They just came away with, some pick swaps, some picks, and some decent players that, they already flipped, they already got rid of. So as far as the haul that the Rockets got for Harden, I think it wasn't that great. It was decent. It wasn't that great. It wasn't anything, franchise altering. So I think the Sixers have to lower their expectations for what they're going to get for Ben Simmons. Get some picks, maybe get some rotational players, get a decent quality starter, and just if they're able to get McCollum from the Blazers, I think that would be good. That's a decent trade. I don't know if if the Blazers want Ben Simmons, I think they would, just because they're woeful on defense. But they need to find someone. They need to trade him. Sack. I think the Kings want him to. They need to just move him. They need to end this. It's getting ridiculous, and it needs to just end. The Lakers and the Warriors, the Bucks and the Nets play on opening night, and here are my predictions. I think the Nets will win. Nothing. Nah, everyone thinks the Nets is going to win, but I don't think so. I think people are disrespecting the Bucks. Giannis looks like he's gotten better. If you guys don't remember, the last 4 games of the finals, he went on a complete tear, culminating with that 50-plus point performance in the finals. So Giannis, it looks like his mid-range, his three-pointers have gotten better. He has that silkier shot form. It's starting to look like Middleton. So I think Giannis is just going to keep improving. He's a defensive force. He's an offensive force. The Bucks don't have anything to stop Giannis. They're not going to have Kyrie. Obviously, the Bucks have had their own distraction with Kyrie, and is he there? Is he not there? We got Kyrie playing pickup football on the field, so he's not going to be there. And the Bucks have everyone. They have Middleton. They have a Holiday. They got all their boys running it back. I think the Bucks are going to put the league on notice. I think Giannis is going to put the league on notice. I think he's going to 30-plus points. If there's any bets that you could put, I think Giannis goes for 30, 35. I wouldn't even be surprised if he gives him a 40-piece to start the season. And but I will say this: it is ring night, which it's good and it's bad. It's ring night. You don't want to lose on opening night, on ring night. You're getting your ring. It's a special moment. It's what you've been dreaming for your whole life. Just getting an NBA ring, being able to lift the trophy at the end of the season. So I think it could be good and bad because your emotions are flowing. You're feeling everything that you felt right when you won the finals. It all comes back to you, and you're all gooey, you're all happy. And from what I can recall from the Lakers last year, watching them in the ring night ceremony, I think they took that opening game lightly. They were just happy to be there. They were just super excited that they got a ring. Everybody was just in a good mood. You could tell that LeBron wasn't taking it too seriously. He kind of wasn't like in a joyful mood. There were like just a lot of banter, a lot of celebrations in the bench. So I will say this: ring night could be a distraction. You just focused on remembering last season, remembering your championship from last year, and I feel like sometimes you focus too much on last year, and you know, it's fine because you won the championship. You want to have a night to remember it, and it's fine. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it is a night where you remember a lot of last season, and this is about this year. This is about this season and moving forward. So I will say that opening night, ring night, it could be a distraction in some sense, but I think the Bucks, they're a better team. They're led by Giannis. I think they're gonna come out and maybe start a little slow because they are gonna be feeling, you know, all gooey, all nice about getting their rings. You know, finally being able to put it in their fingers. So it's gonna be a great night. Might be a little bit of distraction. They might start a little bit slow, but I think the Bucks ultimately impose themselves on the Nets and get that victory. And they put the league on notice. I think Giannis, he's going to showcase a little bit more of that mid-range, that 3-point silky shot that it looked in the preseason. He's going to showcase a little bit more of that. And yeah, I just think the Bucks are going to win. I by no means do I think the Nets are going to be bad this year. Even without Kyrie, I think Harden and KD, if they stay healthy, that's still the best duo in the NBA, especially in the East. But I just think the Bucks, I think a lot of people are disrespecting them. They have them like number 2 or number 3 on their power rankings. I got them as number 1. I think Giannis takes that next step. If that jumper looks like it did in preseason, it's over for the league, man. It's bad. It's bad. And the second match today, Lakers versus Warriors. I'll start with the Warriors real quick. I think the Warriors will be dangerous. They're going to make the playoffs, and they're going to be a threat to go all the way to the finals to come out of the West. I still believe in Clay. I don't know how great he's going to be defensively, which he was amazing before the injury. But I know he's still going to be able to shoot. He's not going to forget how to shoot. He's going to be a sniper. And I think he'll be decent on defense. Hopefully he surprises me and he keeps that really high level at defense. So I think the Warriors are going to be dangerous. I think they're going to make the playoffs. And I do believe that they are going to be one of the teams that you kind of, you know, get a little worried about once the postseason comes. But for opening night, you know, they still don't have Clay. They're still gelling together. I think it's just a little too soon for the Warriors. And the Lakers, you know, they got a healthy AD, healthy LeBron. I think it's also going to be a little sloppy for the Lakers trying to mesh Westbrook, AD, LeBron. We'll see how they get all 3 of those guys going. So I do think it's going to be a little sloppy from both teams. Lakers, they're going to try to find their chemistry. Warriors, they're trying to find their footing still without Klay Thompson. But ultimately, I think the Lakers have the better players. So I do think they're going to win. And I believe it's going to be a sloppy game. I don't think it's going to be super, super, like, I wouldn't say entertaining, because I do believe it's going to be entertaining regardless. But I would say that there's going to, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of turnovers, if there's some balls that get thrown out of bounds because people aren't in the right positions. So I would say to expect some errors, expect, you know, a good amount of turnovers. But ultimately, I think the Lakers, with their superior talent at this moment, I think the Lakers get the victory and they start 1-0. But overall, I just think this is a great slate of games. I think the NBA understands that the Warriors are going to be a dangerous team this season. That's why they're giving them this opening night slot. I think the Lakers are going to be, you know, one of the protagonists this season. Obviously, it's the Lakers. They added Russell Westbrook. We'll see how that experiment goes. The NBA knows that. They get that opening night bid. And Bucks and Nets, we saw the great series they had last postseason. So I think that's a worthy opponent for the Bucks. But overall, I'm just excited for the NBA season to be back. It's been a long, 6-7 months since we last had, or maybe like 3-4 months since we last had, you know, NBA action. It's gonna be fun to have the fans back in the arenas. I think almost everyone's gonna have full arenas. So it's just, I'm just super pumped for this season. It's gonna be a great season, and I think it starts with an amazing opening night and 2 great matches. So make sure to watch those 2 matches. But with the NBA season starting, we have to give our NBA predictions for the season. Who's going to make the playoffs? Who's going to win the awards? Who's going to win, you know, MVP, Rookie of the Year? So without a doubt, here is my predictions for the West, 1 through 8. I'll start with the number 1 seed, go all the way to 8, and I'll even go to 10 because there is a play-in this year, just like last year. So the 10th seed will have a chance to make the playoffs. Number 1, I have the Jazz. They had a great season last year. I still don't believe in the Jazz to be real title contenders. They're a regular season team, and this is, regular season standing. So I do think the Jazz get that number 1 seed. The Nuggets, I think Michael Porter Jr. takes that step into, stardom. He got that contract. He has to live up to that contract. I think the Nuggets are the number 2 seed in the West, followed by the Lakers. Brody's in town. AD's healthy. LeBron looks good. I think they get that 3rd seed. Mavericks. This is basically all the Luka Doncic prediction. I believe in Luka. I think Luka's going to have an extraordinary year. He's going to carry the Mavs. I think they get one of the home field positions. I think the Mavericks get the 4th seed. Suns, they're going to regress a little bit, but they're still making the playoffs. 5th seed with CP3, with Devin Booker. They get the 5th seed. Warriors, I think they're going to come on strong at the end of the season. Once Clay gets back, he's going to, take a few games to get acclimated, and then we're going to see the Splash Bros get it together. Curry and Clay just sniping threes, just terrorizing defenses. I think it's gonna be a fun end to the season for the Warriors, and they'll creep up the standings like in the latter third of the season, and they'll finish in the 6th seed. Blazers, we'll see how they do with their new head coach. I think just the fact that they have Damian Lillard, they're always a shoo-in for at least one of the spots in the playoffs. I think they get the 7th seed. Grizzlies, Ja Morant, Jackson Jr. just got his contract extension. Hopefully he stays healthy. The Grizzlies, 8th seed. Clippers without Kawhi, I think they still have enough talent to get one of these playing spots. And then I think the Timberwolves, hopefully for the Timberwolves, they get it all together. D'Angelo Russell, Karl Anthony Towns, Edwards, they have solid pieces to build around. So I think the Timberwolves get the 10th spot. So 1 through 10, Jazz, Nuggets, Lakers, Mavericks, Suns, Warriors, Blazers, Grizzlies, Clippers, Timberwolves. Those are my top 10 seeds in the West. And in the East, I have the Bucks with the number 1 spot. Nets number 2, even without Kyrie. Bucks goes without saying. I believe in their big 3, Holiday, Middleton, Giannis, their coach. They just won the title. I think they'll take that next step. Now that all the pressure's off them, they know that they're the champions. They're gonna play with a lot of liberty, lose. The Bucks number 1 seed. Nets, Harden and KD. That's all I gotta say. If they stay healthy, even with Steve Nash as an unexperienced coach, I think they get the number 2 seed. Celtics, I expect a bounce back year from the Celtics. Hopefully Brown and Tatum can stay healthy. I think Brown takes that next step and kind of evens out with Tatum again as just 2 young stars in the league. 76ers, this is almost in the same spot as Mavericks in the West. I just really believe in Embiid. I think if they're able to get anything for Ben Simmons and build that kind of cater to Embiid's playing style, spread the floor, get Simmons out of that low block that he used to take up for the 76ers. I think Embiid has enough talent, if he stays healthy, to carry the 76ers into that 5th spot. The Heat, as my number 6, Kyle Lowry, he's going to help the Heat get into the playoffs. I really like Kyle Lowry. I like how he plays. I like his grittiness. I like how he gets defensive. He draws fouls on the defensive side. So I like the Heat. The Bulls, I have them as the 6th seed. You have Vucevic, you have DeMar DeRozan, you have Lonzo Ball, and you got Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine, Vucevic, DeMar DeRozan, Lonzo Ball. Those are enough in the East to get you in the playoffs. If they don't, they're going to underperform. But I think the Bulls are the 6th seed, and they have potential to potentially even move up into the top 4, top 3. I really like what I'm seeing from the Bulls. They were super hot in the preseason. Hopefully they didn't use up all their energy, use up all their shots in the preseason, but I'm impressed. Even with Caruso too coming off the bench, they should be interesting. The Hawks as the 7th seed, Trae Young is gonna get them in the playoffs. Knicks, They snuck into the playoffs last year, or they didn't sneak. They got in there, but didn't look good in the playoffs. But I think Julius Randle still gets them in. Pacers number 9 and Hornets number 10 to round out the East. Those are my playoff predictions for the NBA. And for my awards, just going to go through them real quick. MVP, Luka Doncic. I predicted this last year, but they weren't that high in the standings. I think Luka Doncic, I had them 5th, but I could see them going up to like 3rd, 4th, or even 2nd. The West is wide open, in my opinion. There's a lot of good teams. It could go a lot of ways, but Luka Doncic, he's gonna put amazing numbers again, and I predict the Mavericks to make the playoffs and maybe creep up into one of the top 3 seeds. Rookie of the Year, Cade Cunningham. He's gonna do his thing. He's pretty much the only bright spot on that team. Defensive Player of the Year, Bam Adebayo. Now that there's more pieces around him, hopefully everyone stays healthy. He's gonna be able to just command that paint, be that defensive player, guard 1 through 5. Bam Adebayo. Sixth Man of the Year, I think Jordan Clarkson repeats as Sixth Man of the Year. He's instant offense off the bench, and I have the Jazz, fighting for one of those top seeds in the West too. So I think Jordan Clarkson is going to be the Sixth Man of the Year back to back. Most improved, Jordan Poole. He's looked good, man. He's had his moments before where he explodes for like 30 points. And I think this is the year where he gets it together. When they bring Clay back too, that's going to be 3 people that can score from anywhere. I think Jordan Poole wins Most Improved Player. Coach of the Year, that one's a little tough, but I think Mike Budenholzer gets it. I think for some reason a lot of people have the Nets just as a foregone conclusion as the number 1 seed in the East. But I think the Bucks, I believe in all their guys. Mike Budenholzer is going to lead them into that number 1 spot. Mike has always he's been good in the regular season. He has garnered some criticism for the postseason. He did get his first championship, so maybe those criticisms will go away. But he's always been a good regular season head coach. So I think the Bucks get the number 1 seed, and he gets, I believe it's going to be his 3rd Coach of the Year. So those are my awards. MVP, Luka. Rookie of the Year, Cunningham. Defensive Player of the Year, Adebayo. Sixth Man, Clarkson repeats. Most Improved, Jordan Poole. And Mike Budenholzer gets the Coach of the Year. And for my finals prediction, I have the Lakers versus the Bucks. I think the Lakers with Brody, they'll figure it out. They have enough talent. The Clippers without Kawhi, they're not going to be able to stop them. I don't believe in the Jazz. We'll see how the Nuggets do. Mavericks. There's going to be a lot of good team. Warriors. I have the Lakers making it to the finals in the West. And in the East, I have the Bucks making it back. I'm super impressed by that Giannis shot in the preseason. And hopefully it translates to the regular season. And Giannis just keeps improving year in and year out. He never settles. That mentality that he has is just incredible. And I think that team is just going to keep gelling, keep having better chemistry. And hopefully now that Budenholzer has a chip, he'll start even becoming a better coach too, because he's always been a good regular season head coach. He's had some troubles in the postseason. I think the Bucks have enough pieces to go back to the finals. And my prediction, I have the Lakers beating the Bucks in 7 in the finals. So that's it. Those are my predictions. Lakers in 7 against the Bucks. Jazz, Nuggets, Lakers, Mavericks, Suns, Warriors, Blazers, Grizzlies from the West. Bucks, Nets, Celtics, 76ers, Heat, Bulls, Hawks, and Knicks in the East. And the 2 playing from both sides, Clippers, Timberwolves, and Pacers, Hornets. That should do it. Let me know what you guys think. I know everyone has different predictions, but that's what makes it fun. I'm not trying to be, a psychic and just I don't think I'm going to get everything right. I think it's just fun to, see where everyone is thinking before the season. Everyone has different perspective. Obviously, everyone has their favorite team that they're going to, root for one way or another, maybe sway their decision, be a little biased. So these are my predictions. Let me know what you guys think. The one team that I am really looking forward to have a breakout season this NBA season, it's the Chicago Bulls. I think this is their year. This is the year they go back to the playoffs, and they could be scary. I have them as the 6th seed in the East in my preseason prediction playoff rankings, but I think they have the potential to legitimately be the team behind the Nets and the Bucks. I think they could be as high as number 3. I have them number 6, but I could see them creeping up. Lonzo Ball, DeMar DeRozan, Vucevic, Zach LaVine, Caruso. They have some nice pieces. Lonzo Ball, man, if you have not seen He is the epitome of a player that comes into the league with a broken shot. It looks like he has no hope. How is he going to fix this? Muscle memory. He shot this way for thousands and thousands of times. He's played ball since he was like 6. How are you going to fix his shot? And now, what is he? Year 5, I believe. He has a crispy shot. The follow through looks nice. The technique looks nice. The ball is going inside the net. Lonzo Ball, I think he has a breakout year. He could even potentially be an all-star, but point guard position is super hard, so possibly not. But Lonzo Ball, I think he's a breakout candidate player. His shot looks amazing. He's always been a legit passer. Having DeMar DeRozan, who could still get up and dunk. Zach LaVine, who's probably the best dunker in the league. Caruso, who could make some highlight dunks too. I think it's going to be fun. The Bulls are going to be exciting, man. Lonzo Ball is going to be the glue that gets everything together. DeMar DeRozan, he's still a savvy veteran. He still gives you 20 points per game. You know, the mid-range king. He's one of the best mid-range players. He got his assist up last year. He's a willing passer. I think he's going to be a good complementary piece. Lonzo's going to make everything gel together. Vucevic, he can stretch the floor. He's a natural scorer. He's going to be able to stretch the ball, stretch the court at that 5 position. And that's needed with DeMar DeRozan not being a three-point shooter, not really taking any shots from the three-point line. Zach LaVine, elite scorer, all-star. He's must-watch TV. Zach LaVine is just electric. That's the one word you could use to describe Zach LaVine. He's just electric. He's must-watch TV. He'll dunk all over you. He'll shoot from anywhere. He's clutch. He's just an amazing player. The league is in great hands when Zach LaVine hasn't really made too many all-stars. I think he makes another all-star, and he leads the Bulls into the playoffs. They have Caruso, who's going to bring a lot of energy off the bench. They have other young pieces that I think are going to be crucial, and they're going to, really contribute. And Billy Donovan, we'll see what Billy Donovan's made of, because when he was with the OKC Thunder, a lot of his criticism was that he just kind of let Westbrook and KD do their thing. He didn't really run an offense. He didn't really, set up schemes, set up plays. It was just give them the ball and let them do their thing as stars, which is fine when you have 2 of the top 10 players, 2 of the top 5 players in the league. It's fine, but that was one of the criticism of Billy Donovan when he was with OKC. You kind of wanted to see him put his footprint on the game plan, on the game a little bit more. So I do think Billy Donovan is going to have to be a good head coach, be able to call the right plays, break down their minutes in the correct form. So I'm curious to see how Billy Donovan steps up to the plate this year. But talent-wise, I think the Bulls have everything they need to be a contender in the East. Not a finals contender, but a playoff contender for sure. And if they find some chemistry, if Lonzo Ball is able to be that elite point guard, I think they have Eastern Conference final potential. Like I said, I don't think they're championship contenders, but I could definitely see if they catch fire, they make the semifinals or the finals in the Eastern Conference. But that's my team to look out for. I know a lot of people are hyped about them. They look good in the preseason. I don't think I'm going out on a limb or anything, but I do think the Bulls could be nasty this year, and it'll be great for the league to have the Bulls back in the upper echelon of the league. But transitioning over to the Premier League, Ole Gunnar needs to be fired. He does not deserve to be the coach of Manchester United, a storied franchise, a storied team with a lot of history that have suffered since Sir Alex retired. The easiest way I could break this down, other than the eye test, and everyone kind of could see that he's not fit to be the head coach of Manchester United, is opposition fans want him to stay. I asked Liverpool fans, I asked my friend Matt, who's been on the show as a Liverpool fan, and he's ecstatic that Manchester United keeps saying that they're going to back Ole. And I asked, my Chelsea fans, and I asked even myself as a Wolves fan, I'm like, hey, we might even be able to compete for Europa with these guys or something. I don't know. I just asked fans from around the league, Liverpool fans. I wish I could say City fans, but I don't know any City fans. Chelsea fans. I even know Arsenal fans. I even know a few Tottenham fans. And they all say, hey, keep him in there, man. It's better for us, for them to have Ole Gunnar. It's kind of like United's kind of like a sleeping giant. I think they have a lot of potential. They have all the pieces. They put money into the team. They should be one of these teams where you're just like, whoa, I'm scared to play them. But they're not. And I think the main reason is because Ole is just not fit for them. The roster is ready to win, and he just can't implement tactics. He looks like he's a caretaker manager. He's just there to, keep people happy, say the right things to the media, be, the face of the team. He's had some moments with the team as a player, so he has cachet with the fans. He has cachet with the team. It's all good, like ex-player turned coach. That story is, everyone loves that little story. Player that did good with the team is now the coach, but it doesn't always work out, and not everyone could be Zidane. Most of the time, they're like Lampard, and this is almost the exact same replica as Chelsea. Team wasn't doing too good. How are we going to save face? Let's give an ex-player the coaching job, and you quickly realize that he's over his head. He doesn't know what he's doing. This job came too quick for him. It's too early. Not saying that he can't be a good head coach down the line, but at this moment, it just came too fast, too quick for them. They don't know what they're doing at this level, and it's just not enough. And to have a team with Ronaldo, Cavani, Rashford, Greenwood, Bruno Fernandes, Pogba, De Gea, Varane, Maguire. We have all these big name players, and you're creeping down the table and you're looking at these fixtures that are coming up, and you're like, how are they going to get out of it? And I don't think they will. I think they're going to struggle these next few matches. They have Liverpool, they have City, they have Atalanta twice in Champions League. I think they're going to struggle, and it's because Ole has no leadership. He can't steer the ship. He's fine when they're doing good, but he can't steer the ship once it's going bad. I don't think he has shown the leadership that it is required to be a manager at one of these top teams. And when asked after the loss to Leicester, to give his comments on the game, one of his comments was that, they weren't winning the 50-50 balls. They weren't getting the second chance balls. And it was just like, come on, man. Like, that's something that my rec league coach told me when I was 11. Like, that's because, we don't know any better. We can't really say, we got to attack the flanks. We got to do all this stuff. It's 50-50 balls. Try harder. Go put your foot strong. Like, what kind of tactics is that? I just have lost hope for Ole. And when they win, even if United find a way to, tough out some victories or, go through this rough stretch of games, this tough schedule, this tough part of the schedule, even if they somehow end up winning a lot of these games, I'll say it's because of the talent of the team, not because of the head coach. I've seen enough. In my opinion, the bird is out of the cage. We know that Ole is not fit for this, and it's only a matter of time. And hopefully for United fans, because I've seen them all over YouTube, people making their own fan videos wanting him out. They're all over Twitter. They're all over everywhere. Reddit. They're everywhere. Facebook. United fans are pretty much fed up. I'm not a United fan. I'm just a Premier League fan. I'm a podcaster. I'm a Wolves fan. And I kind of want to see this United team at full strength. I think it'll be good for the league. Because right now it looks like it's going to come down between City, Liverpool, and Chelsea, which is fine. It'll still be entertaining, but to add another team into that contention, like a legit team, not just a roster, not just on paper, to have another team really compete with these other three teams that have looked solid so far, I think it would be great TV, and that's, I'm all for that. So I think this team does have potential, but it's just not going to get fulfilled with Ole Gunnar. The Wolves come back from 2-0 down and beat Aston Villa 3-2. What a comeback. It was ridiculous. At the same time as the United game, both matches were just ridiculous. What a morning. What a Saturday morning here in the States. Wolves had not looked good the whole game. They looked like they had no idea. They couldn't really threaten Martinez. They weren't really getting anything going other than Adama, and Adama can't finish, unfortunately. But Adama was, the one threat, the one constant threat, and he couldn't really get that last part of his finishing or his passing down. But Wolves weren't creating too many chances, and just like that, 3 goals in 15 minutes, all of set pieces, just ridiculous, crazy stuff. Epic. This is what you dream for as a fan, as a fan of the team, as a fan of the sport, as a fan of just sports in general. Like, even if I wasn't a soccer fan or football fan and I would see something like this, it would just resonate with me. It was incredible. And now the Wolves are up to 10th. They're up to 10th after a terrible start. After the first 4 games looked like the Wolves might be, fighting for their survival, fighting for their chance to stay in the Premier League. Wolves are up to 10th, 3 wins in a row. Leeds United next, and Leeds have been just atrocious this season. I believe they're 4th to last. They're 4th bottom in the table, which will put them at 17th. But Wolves can't get comfortable because Leicester, Arsenal, and Newcastle are behind them. And you would think that Leicester and Arsenal are a lock for going up. Like, those teams are not going to go down. They're not going to let them go down. Leicester looks like they just turned it around. Arsenal, obviously. Newcastle, they just got new money in. So you'll think that in January they're going to put a lot of money in there so that they won't survive. So, we can't get complacent. It's great. Like, I've had some couple days to think about this victory. It's amazing. It's great on a derby too. To come back from down 2-0 and win is just ridiculous. It's amazing. It's one of the moments of the year. But the Wolves didn't look too dangerous. And obviously, you got to take that with a grain of salt because Raul Jimenez didn't really play. He came on late. He didn't really play. They were resting him because he had just had international duty with Mexico. So you got to take it with a grain of salt. But even if Raul isn't playing, the team has to look better than they did. They have to create more chances. They have to defend better. You can't always come down from 3-2. You just can't. From down 2-0. So I think obviously points matter, but the way you win points matters too, because at some point, if you're getting points the ugly way, it's not sustainable. You got to eventually be able to play quality football and create enough chances, create enough goal scoring opportunities. And I think the Wolves they have some games where they're really pushing the tempo, they're really creating chances, and then have other games where they look kind of lost. They look like they can't really get anything going. They can't find a way to break down the other team's defense. So I don't want to be pessimistic. I want to be optimistic. I'm super ecstatic that after the terrible start, Wolves are in 10th place. They look like they have turned the corner. Bruno Lage, hopefully he'll be the coach to lead us back into a European spot. All I'm saying is to not be complacent, not let this get to our heads. Look at this game, for what it was. It was a game that Aston Villa dominated for a lot of the match, and Wolves dug deep and found a way to win off a lot of set pieces, off a lucky deflection. They found a way to win. Applaud yourselves for not giving up. You could have easily, thrown in the towel, said, this is not our day. Let's go home. Let's recoup. Credit for the team for not giving up, for fighting for every ball, getting those set pieces, and be happy with the result that you got. Don't let it get to your head. If it got to your head on Saturday, even Sunday, it was electric. It was epic. It's something that we probably won't see again too many times in our lifetimes, to score 3 goals in 15 minutes, stoppage time winner off a deflection. Crazy, crazy stuff. But just don't let it get to your head. Fix your mistakes. Fix that defense. Try to create more going forward and be a dynamic team. And then we could talk about, pushing that top half of the table. But overall, after the first 4 weeks where it looked super bleak, I would take this any day of the week, any season like this. This is a complete turnaround. I'm excited for the Wolves. 3 wins in a row. I'm just saying, don't get complacent and really analyze this game for what it was. We were outplayed for the first 80 minutes, and we found a way to turn it around. And props to you guys for turning around, but let's fix our mistakes. That's all I'm saying. NFL Week 6 is in the books, and it concluded with the Bills versus Titans in what was an incredible game. Derrick Henry is a monster. He's incredible. He's ridiculous. He's an all-time great. He just baffles me. The things he could do at that size. One of the stats that came out was that on the run that he broke in the first half, that's the fastest any running back's been clocked for the whole season. Derrick Henry, 6'2", 240, 250, whatever I think he might even be 6'3", was the fastest clocked running back this season. For him to be that powerful, to be a freight train, to be an unstoppable force, and reach the highest speed of any running back in the league so far this season, that's ridiculous. That's asinine. That blows my mind that man can move that quick at that size. But another stat that was funny to me was Tannehill getting credited with the comeback win. Obviously, Tannehill, quality quarterback, decent. I like how he turned around his career with the Titans. And quarterback is the most difficult position in the league. So obviously he was going to get paid, and he got paid handsomely, and he's making $29 million per year compared to Derrick Henry, who's, I believe, making somewhere in the tens. I believe maybe like 15. So he's making almost twice as much as Derrick Henry, if not twice. But it's just funny how, I mean, I don't mean to be too harsh on Tannehill, but it's just funny how these stats are always catered to these running backs, because Tannehill got credited with the comeback win against the Bills yesterday on Monday, and that makes it the 9th comeback win since he became the starter for the Titans in that 2019 season, and that's the most for any QB. And you're like, okay, that's great, good job for Tannehill, impressive stuff. Like, obviously, if you're a quarterback, that's a stat you want to be towards the top. Comeback wins shows that you're a good quarterback, shows that, you know, the team could rely on you to bring him back. But you never really hear elite running backs get that credit too. Like, oh, Derrick Henry leading his team, or wide receivers, or anybody else. And I get it. The quarterback is the only player that touches the ball every play. So it makes sense. Or maybe almost every play, because nowadays people do some weird stuff or interesting stuff, exotic stuff to, you know, hike it with the running back or a wide receiver, stuff like that. But for the most part, a quarterback touches the ball every time the offense is on the field. So it makes sense that they get the credit. But if we were to really look at the Titans team, I mean, we don't even have to look that deep. It's obvious that these comebacks are a result of Derrick Henry being an alien, being out of this planet, being the best running back in the league, and not really Tannehill doing a lot of, you know, heavy lifting. Nothing. I don't want to take anything away Tannehill. He did make throws. He did convert third downs. He did find A.J. Brown a lot in the second half. Julio Jones went down, as is customary now in this latter stage of his career. So I don't mean to, you know, take that stat away from Tannehill. 9 comeback wins since he became the starter in 2019. Most by any QB in that time. Great for him. But the main reason is Derrick Henry. And it's obvious, it's easy to say that Derrick Henry is what makes that offense go around. If for some reason, knock on wood, Derrick Henry was to go down, that team would plummet. They would not be the same. Derrick Henry is a monster. He should be top 2 in the MVP, maybe even the MVP leader, because the Titans looked terrible to start the season. They lost to the Cardinals. They lost to the Jets. And now they're 4-2. They just beat the Bills, who everyone after last Sunday was claiming to be the best team in the NFL after beating the Chiefs. And now they're tied on records. The Titans are 4-2, and it's because of Derrick Henry. And he's on a tear. And I believe he's already on the 10s. He might have like 11 or 12 touchdowns for the season. So LaDainian Tomlinson's single season record for touchdowns, that's definitely in grasp. The yards is also in touch, especially now with an extra game. So Derrick Henry might just have the best season ever by a running back, even without the extra game. We'll see how he's doing after week 17. But Derrick Henry, he's just incredible. He's a monster. When he gets going, it's almost impossible to stop him. Even if you're a defensive tackle, he gets a little steam going, and even if you're a defensive tackle, it's hard to tackle him, as was evident, I believe, in the second touchdown that he had. But Derrick Henry, just incredible. The Titans look like they're starting to get it together. A.J. Brown had the best game of his season so far. Hopefully he could get healthy. We'll see if they ever get a healthy Julio Jones and how much he's able to contribute. But the Bills, you know, I think they overlooked the Titans. They were still a little high off their win against the Chiefs. Their defense looked a little exposed. But not every team has Derrick Henry, so I'm not too worried about the Bills' defense. For the call, the Bills went for it on 4th down, 4th and less than 1 yard. I like how they went for it. I think that was the correct decision. You go out there and you get the win. when it's 4th and inches and you're right there. I like the call. I would have gone for it too. I was telling them to go for it when the play, as it happened. I just didn't like the play. I didn't like how Josh Allen was on shotgun, and then he, pretended to do some signals, and then he hiked the ball and he lost his footing. I think they should have ran Josh Allen run from shotgun, like a designed run. I think he always gets positive yards when he does that, and I think they would have gotten the first down. But I like the call. I can't blame the coach for going for it. It's what I would have done. It didn't work out, but it is what it is. It was a good game, as almost every single a primetime game has been this season. So shout out for the NFL for putting the correct games in the correct spots, because all these primetime games have been amazing. So whoever's making that schedule, props to you. You deserve a raise. Bills lose to the Titans. Derrick Henry's a monster, and I would have gone for it on 4th down myself. Chargers versus Ravens. I hyped it up. I'm not gonna lie. I thought this was gonna be potentially the game of the year. Especially the first half of the season. Ravens, who were on fire. Chargers, who were on fire. Lamar Jackson versus Justin Herbert. I even advocated for the NFL flexing games before Week 11 so that we could see Ravens versus Chargers in primetime. And thankfully, I'm not the guy making the rules. I'm not the guy setting the schedule, because if they would have done that, we would have had a terrible Sunday night football game. The Ravens thoroughly trashed the Chargers, imposed themselves. A good old-fashioned Ravens victory. They ran for 187 yards. Lamar Jackson only had 167 yards through the air. He had 2 interceptions. But the defense was great. The running game was amazing. And it was just an old-fashioned Ravens beatdown. They're 5-1 now. They could easily be 6-0. They would have beaten the Raiders. And the Chargers, they head into their bye week 4-2. They had a really tough schedule. They got to regroup. They got to fix some stuff. They got to protect Herbert. Herbert, got to play a little better too. That defense got to play better. But I just want to talk about the Ravens. What a beatdown. Just completely dominated the game since the beginning. You kind of knew where this was going. Obviously, Staley has gotten a lot of praise for going for it on 4th down, because it's working. It's been working to start the season. It didn't really work out against the Ravens. He went for it, I believe twice on their own half, in their own side of the football field, and they couldn't get it. Thankfully the defense held, and they only gave up 6 points off of those failed 4th downs. But the Ravens were just thoroughly the best team. They were the better team, and that was kind of a message to the rest of the league, because the Chargers were getting everyone's attention. They were getting, after beating the Chiefs, beating the Raiders, and beating the Browns, almost beating the Cowboys. They were the talk of the town. Everyone was talking about the Chargers. Even myself, I was getting excited. The Chargers looked amazing. They looked great. That comeback victory against the Browns in LA last week. They looked like they were, getting into form. People are talking about, are they the second best team in the AFC behind the Bills? And now the Bills lose to the Titans. The Chargers get trashed by the Ravens. And the Ravens are the best team in the NFL right now. They could beat you multitude of ways. Last week, it was Lamar Jackson having the best throwing game of his career, bringing them back against the Colts. And then this week, it was just an old-fashioned Baltimore Ravens victory. Great defense. Más o menos, passing offense, and just an elite running offense. And that's the Baltimore Ravens. They're versatile. They could beat you in a lot of ways. And they have officially put the league on notice that they are the best team in the league. And right now, the AFC goes through Baltimore. And that's a scary thing, because Baltimore have a lot of great fans that are going to be super loud. It's going to get cold over there for the playoffs. So watch out for the Baltimore Ravens. They put the league on notice. They put the Chargers on notice. They put everyone in the AFC on notice. And if you're watching from the NFC side, you're like, okay, we better be ready for Baltimore, because it doesn't matter if their first running back, RB1 goes out, RB2 goes out, RB3 goes out, cornerback 1 goes out. It doesn't matter. They don't have a wide receiver that signed with them. A lot of wide receivers passed up on them. It doesn't matter. Juju passed on them. I believe T.Y. Hilton passed on them. A lot of players, Galladay passed on them. It doesn't matter when Lamar Jackson could go for 400 yards passing, or he could go for 100 yards running, or that defense could stuff you, one of the best offenses, one of the best young quarterbacks to just stuff you. The Ravens are scary, man. And if you haven't been paying attention, it's time to pay attention. These Ravens are legit. And the AFC right now, it looks like it's going through Baltimore. So you better pack some jackets and get warm because it's going to be a fight. And to wrap up this podcast, let's talk some tennis. Cameron Norrie wins his first Masters 1000. He defeats Basilashvili in the Indian Wells finals. And Cameron Norrie is just Mr. Consistent, super consistent, doesn't make errors. I was able to see him in the San Diego Open, and he lost the final to Casper Ruud, another super consistent player. And he's able to get his first Masters 1000 victory. So shout out to Cameron Norrie. He's now, I believe, number 16 in the men's rankings, and he's number 10 in the FedEx ATP race to Turin. He's only 160 points behind Hurkacz. So I would not be surprised if my boy Cameron Norrie makes it to the ATP finals, which would be amazing. An incredible year for Cameron Norrie. Just one of the most consistent players on tour. Gets his first Masters 1000. And he was down in the first set against Basilashvili. If you were to just look at the highlights, like on YouTube or something, most of the highlights are from Basilashvili. He has a powerful forehand. And he's a very entertaining player. And if he was able to keep the consistency that he showed on the first set, he could potentially be a top 10 player because he looked amazing that first set. That forehand was hitting. He couldn't really make too many mistakes. He was just on fire. But, not everyone could keep that consistency. If he could keep that consistency, like I said, he would be a top 5, top 10 player. Unfortunately, he's not there yet. 50 ground stroke errors. 22 unforced errors just in the last set. And I think he had a great tournament too. Don't want to take anything away from him. Nicolas, the first player from Georgia to reach the final of a Masters 1000. So shout out to Nicolas. Great tournament. He put on a super entertaining tournament. Even the final, he had some great shots that you were just like, wow, this guy is nice. But like a lot of players that play Cameron Norrie, he just keeps the ball coming back to you. And it's a great quote. I have this great quote from my friend Jason, who used to play tennis back in high school for my high school. And I was having a conversation with him talking about how, like, hey, how are the coaches at our high school? And he was like, well, they're not the best. They kind of basically just told us to just get the ball over the net. They didn't really teach us any form or any techniques, or they weren't the best coaches basically. But the one rule that they always said was just to get the ball over the net. You can't lose if you keep getting the ball over the net. And Cameron Norrie is like the epitome of that saying. Just keep getting the ball over the net. And Cameron Norrie does that better than a lot of people in the ATP tour. He is just consistent. He gets to a lot of balls. He's always gonna get it over the net, and he doesn't make too many errors. And for a player that goes for a lot of winners like Nicolas, he felt the weight of the pressure. I feel like you play a player like that and you just think like, man, like this is a long rally, man. Like I thought I should have had a winner already, and Cameron just keeps returning it, and that pressure can get to you. And it was evident in the third set. 22 unforced errors for Basilashvili. But I think he has potential, Basilashvili. He's already 29, so he's getting a little up there in age. But I don't think this will be the last time we see him going towards the latter stages in their Masters 1000. And for Cameron Norrie, what an incredible year. He's now the number 1 ranked British player, so shout out to him. He's 160 points from getting to the ATP finals. Nadal already went out, so if you're the number 9 in that ranking, you get to go. Right now it's Hurkacz, but we'll see how they finish out. It's going to be an exciting finish. Shout out to Cameron Norrie, the number 16th player in the world now. And shout out to the San Diego Open for getting these people ready, because Cameron Norrie, Grigor Dimitrov, Ruud, Schwartzman, all of those guys were at the San Diego Open, and they had really good tournaments. So I think it's a great warm-up tournament for the Indian Wells, and hopefully the San Diego Open is able to stay in San Diego. I just had to say that real quick as a San Diego native. Keep the San Diego Open in San Diego. Andy Murray and Frances Tiafoe just concluded their match at the European Open, first round match. And was this the match of the years? 3 hours and 45 minutes in a 3-set thriller. All 3 sets went to a tiebreak, 7-6, 6-7, 7-6. Andy Murray wins this first round match against Frances Tiafoe. Tiebreak on all 3 sets. It's just ridiculous. Incredible tennis by both people. And the Andy Murray comeback train just keeps on going. Andy Murray, I predicted, is going to be a top 20 player in 2022. And this gives me a lot of hope to be able to go the distance against Frances Tiafoe, one of the fittest players on tour, and just put on a show for people that were watching the European Open on TV and in person. It was just an exciting, exhilarating, electric match. Shout out to Frances Tiafoe. He's one of my favorite players. He's a showman. He's fun. He reacts to a lot of shots. I like that. I don't really like players that are robotic, that don't show emotion. I get it that in tennis, that's a lot of people. You're supposed to be, professional, or whatever professional means. You're supposed to be, suit and tie almost with every point. You can't really celebrate too much because whatever. I like Frances Tiafoe being a little silly, doing dances, celebrating with the fans, staring at them, all that stuff that he does. That's caused me to be a fan of Frances Tiafoe. So I like how he showed respect to Murray, went over to the other side of the net, gave him a hug. They exchanged some words because they put up one of the best matches of the year, probably the best 250 match this year. And it's up there for any other, even just overall match of the year. And it's crazy because it's the first round of a 250 tournament, so you wouldn't expect this. But Murray has a wild card. Tiafoe, his rankings has been slipping, so it was just incredible. That third set tiebreak was the perfect culmination to the match. Each player fighting off match points with aces, with their serves. Each player fighting off match points, just coming back. Okay, Murray has match point. Boom, boom. Tiafoe hits 2 aces. All right, Tiafoe at match point. Murray comes back. Another ace, another beautiful serve. It was just exciting. It was exhilarating. It was, oh my God, catching that game was amazing. I don't know if we're going to see another match like that in the European Open, but I just wanted to give them their flowers. Congratulations to both players. And like I said, Tiafoe is one of my favorite players. I like that he's a showman, but he needs to get his rankings up, man. I think he has quality tennis in him, as evident. He upset Rublev at the U.S. Open. I think he has, he's one of the most talented U.S. players on tour, in my opinion. He's just not there yet consistently. He's not there mentally. He's a good showman. He's good for TV, but I want Tiafoe to start doing a little better. He needs to get his rankings up. But today was just Andy Murray's day, and like I said, it gives me hope for Andy Murray. Like matches like this where he goes 3 hours and 45 minutes, three tiebreakers against Tiafoe, who on his day is a really challenging opponent. Man, Andy Murray comeback train, hop on it because it's coming. I'm telling you, top 20 player in 2022. His rankings just plummeted. His Murray's rankings just plummeted because he lost points from the Indian Wells tournament. So he kind of slipped a little bit further, but I still believe that he could get his ranking up. Andy Murray is going to be a top 20 player in 2022. I've said it before. I've said it now. What a match. Andy Murray versus Frances Tiafoe. If you didn't get a chance to catch it, make sure to look up the highlights on YouTube or somewhere else because this match was incredible. 3 tiebreaks, tiebreak in every set, and just incredible stuff. Amazing stuff. Shout out to Tiafoe. Shout out to Andy Murray for just providing us electric, entertaining tennis. It's amazing. I love tennis. I can't wait to see the rest of the European Open. I can't wait to see Andy Murray climb up the rankings because I believe he will. And hopefully for Frances Tiafoe, he gets it together because I have a lot of hope for this guy. I think he could move up rankings too. So just thankful for both of them for putting up a ridiculous, entertaining match. And that should do it for this episode of the Hard to Handle Sports Podcast. If you listened all the way to the end, hour 30 minutes or however long it was, hour and 1 minute, thank you so much for staying to the end. Have a great rest of your day. Make sure to watch some NBA basketball. It is back.